Lord have mercy. Look at all these beautiful faces on here this morning. Oh my God, Miss Kathleen Williams, I love that fan. I love that fan. I love that fan. Uh-oh. It's hammer time. Hey, I love that fan. That's a beautiful fan. I love how colorful it is. Wow. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Miss Caroline Baker. Good morning. Good seeing you on the call this morning. Miss Celia in Woodland, California. Thank you, Mr. Dale Ranson. Thank you so much, Mr. Freddie Sherman. Regional Director from San Diego, California. Who'll be our guest speaker tomorrow. The great Mr. Julian Lewis. Thank you so much. Mr. Casey Smart Carter just got on. Just got on. Oh, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Okay, let's go back here. Here we go. There we go. Mr. Lance Kelly, good morning, sir. Mrs. Walker, good morning. Mr. Payon out in Japan, good morning, senor. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, let's see who else we got on here. Miss Walker, thank you so much. Pat Robinson there, Oakland, California. Oakland. And let's go north to Elk Grove, California, where the great Mr. Frank and Patricia Bowman are in Elk Grove, California. Good morning. Miss Kimberly Garcia, good morning. Okay. Perla Bernal, is she driving? Is she in the car driving that Jaguar she got? I want to tell y'all a Jaguar story in a minute before we get our guest speaker up. The Jaguar story. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Hey, I want to thank Mr. Robinson, part of the bakery organization. Thank you so much, Ms. Tracy Gilmore. Thank you so much. Sensational in Florida. Hello. Mr. Winston Herbert, good morning, sir. Ms. Zoe, part of the bakery organization. Mr. Brian Beck himself is on this morning. Good morning, senor. All right, Sam Foster down there in Dallas, Texas. Hey, Miss T. Hayes, good morning, dear. Miss Castro down in Phoenix, Arizona. Marie, good morning, dear. Joyce Brewer, good morning. Mrs. Konohara over in Japan. Good evening. It's evening over there in that part of the world. Miss Tamara McDowell, thank you so much. And the San Diego area, Miss Darlene Evans, part of the crew organization out in South Carolina, and Miss Jones, part of the crew organization. Hey, TJ in Ohio, good morning. Eileen, good morning. Scott Thong, good morning, sir. Mr. Jordan Say, good morning. Harrison Bill, I know you got her qualified. Hey, Dave Culver, the professor, good morning. Ooh, Regional Vice President, Miss Jocelyn Driscoll is on the call today. My God, amen. Thank you so much for joining, dear. Oh, and Mr. Dwight Williams, super. Man, we got him on Wednesday, you guys. Hey, I want to tell you a quick story before we get our guest speaker on here. Can I tell you a quick story? All right, about the Jaguar. I just saw Miss Perla Malone driving her Jaguar, so I got to tell y'all a Jaguar story. Oh, boy, got involved with the company, kind of like ACN, network marketing. You know, it is a network marketing. You get involved with network marketing, and all of a sudden he told his wife, hey, baby, I'm going to buy a Jaguar. And she said, oh, my God, you got involved with one of those things. You know how they say, one of those what things, one of those things. And he said, well, baby, I'm going to buy you a Jaguar. And he come on home in dinner time, and he sat down and have dinner with his wife, and she wouldn't say a word. And he'd go to bed, kiss her at night, and he'd get up in the morning, and he put a picture of a Jaguar up on the mirror, and he shaved. He said, I'm gonna buy this Jaguar. Well, as soon as he walked out the door, he kissed her. She went in the bathroom and snatched it down. He come home at dinner and he have dinner with her and go to bed and get up next morning, and he put the picture back up and shave. I'm gonna buy my girl a Jaguar. And all of a sudden, so kissed her, walked out the door. She go in and snatch it down. This went on for 31 days because she was not a believer about him getting a Jaguar. 31 days this went on. 31 days. And guess what he was driving the 31st day? No, not a Jaguar, a Jaguar. He pulled up to the house, he tooted, toot, toot. She looked out. She was amazed. He came in the house, gave her a kiss. She didn't say a word. They sat down, had dinner. She didn't say a word. They went to bed. She didn't say a word. Got up the next morning, old boy wanted to go shave, and he walked in there in a picture of a fur coat. Picture of a fur coat. Made a believer out of her, didn't he? He made a believer, didn't he? So let me ask you guys a question before I get our guest speaker. Who are you going to make a believer? Are you going to make yourself a believer what you can do with this business? Right, Mr. Bill Howard? Yeah, that's right, sir. You're going to make a believer. There you go. You're going to make yourself a believer. That's right, Miss Castro. You're going to make yourself a believer. Hey, today we got a great call lined up. This young lady doesn't need a really long, extensive introduction, but here goes. She hails from Fresno, California. Matter of fact, I'll be down there this Fresno, and Friday night we have a leadership in Fresno for leaders only. So I don't know, we got to talk to the leadership down in Fresno. We're coming down for a big barbecue and leadership on Friday night, and then Saturday, well, I could tell you what it is, I'm not gonna say anything else, but she hails from Fresno, California. Her husband, her flipped gas stations. She graduated with 2 degrees, not 1, but 2. That's how smart she is. She's double smart. And came out, started her own business and said, wait a minute, this is not working. I got to be here all the time to get paid. This is ridiculous. How do people do this? At a young, ripe old age, ripe old age of 26, she decided, you know what, I need something else. And they went to a meeting and they came and saw AC and they looked at each other and said, honey, you think what I'm thinking? He goes, absolutely. Matter of fact, Mr. Hussein, Ismail, good morning, sir. I know you're on the line. I know you're on the line. Thank you so much. So anyway, so I decided, let's get started, honey. This makes a lot of sense. If we do this hard, real hard, heavy for 3 or 4 years, we could slow down and start a family. Regional Vice President, Regional Director, excuse me, Mr. King is on the line, and Ms. Rose Guerrero just joined us and said, you know what, this makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna get started. Miss Martinez on Iowa, good morning. And she said, well, honey, let's, hey, do it. And you know, he's such a supportive husband. Such a supportive husband. And he says, you just do this. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. And we're going to meet in the middle. We're going to make a lot of money and make it happen. And we could start our family beside our 2 beautiful fur babies. We're going to start a family. And since then, they got their head, put their head down, and she's always just absorbing every bit of information. I call her my little mini me because she knows me. I look at her like, wow, she's really been studying the information. See, here again, she's a studier. She studies the information. Not just hears, but a doer, but she also studies information. And without further ado, superstar, regional director, on the way to regional vice president, none other than Miss Natasha Ismail. Where are you, dear? Let's give her a hand. Let's give her a hand. Let's give her a hand. Yeah,
good morning.
There you go. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas, for having, I love that blazer, by the way. That's a sharp looking blazer. Sharp looking blazer.
Out here, so I thought I'd put on a little cashmere.
I was like, am I supposed to be more dressed up than him? But you know, sorry. So thank you so much, Mr. Thomas, for having me on today. Guys, happy Monday. I'm so excited to be on today. I had something come to me and I was just like, this is it. That's what I'm going to talk about. But before we get started, I want to thank all of you guys. And I want to tell you a little bit about my story. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Natasha. I live here in Fresno, California. And my husband and I, right before we saw the business, were flipping gas stations for a living. So flipping commercial properties and things like that. And I was a professional student. I went to school my whole life. I was told, go to school, get a good education, find a good job. So I listened, I got my 2 degrees, and then I started my own business. But even with that, what I found out was I was always stuck in the studio. I was always waiting for people to show up. If people didn't show up to get trained, I didn't get paid. And I wasn't okay with that, because can we agree that time is money? So when we saw this, it completely made sense. And we just jumped in with both feet and never looked back. And here we are today. So who's ready for Monday? Can we see who's ready for Monday? You guys can blow up the chat today. I have no restrictions on the chat. You guys can, whatever, put a bunch of stuff in there. I'm going to ask you to participate at some part, so go ahead and do that. So again, I want to thank Mr. Thomas, and we know without him even doing these and allowing anyone to have the opportunity to speak, none of this would be possible. So I want to thank him for being such an amazing human being down to his core, and for just really giving everyone a chance, just like the company does. So last week we talked about problems. So how many of us during the week, we kind of looked at problems a little bit differently? We looked at them as opportunities or just as something that we can learn from, correct? Now, today, I'm going to talk about something that everyone wants, or everyone says that they want. It's something that everyone wishes that they had. Some people dream for it. Some people fight for it. Some people never end up getting it. But some people keep themselves from it. So if you think you know what I'm talking about, type it in the chat. Type it in the chat if you think you know what I'm talking about. Winston, Jonathan, Herbert, you are correct. It's freedom. It's freedom. Now, freedom has a lot of different meanings for a lot of different people. And there's a lot of different types of freedom. We can talk about physical freedom. We can talk about financial freedom. But the one that I want to focus on today is mental freedom. And that's something that at some point in time in our lives, everyone has experienced in some way, shape, or form. So what I mean by mental freedom is, think about it. Freedom to a lot of people means you get to do what you want, when you want, with whoever you want, wherever you want, correct? And we're telling ourselves that that's going to be achieved by having our finances covered, right? Because then you don't have to worry about anything. But what about the mental freedom? What about all of the doubts, the fears, the opinions, the chatter in our head? What about that? Because without that being gone, can you really experience total freedom? No. Because if you're not free here, then nothing else really matters, because that's where it starts. So I want everybody to think about this. If you're able to close your eyes, if you're driving, don't close your eyes. I want you to think back to a time when you were just on cloud nine. Now, it could be when you fell in love for the first time, or it could be when, you know, you had your child or anything like that. Just think back to a time that you were just totally free on cloud nine. You had no fears, you had no doubts, you had no worries, and you were just so happy. You were just so happy, so careless. Think about that time. Now, that time was total bliss. How did you feel when you experienced total bliss? Amazing, you were on cloud nine. But some people purposely take that away from themselves. And we do that because we're not free up here. So when I speak today, I'm hoping that this message is for someone and it hits somebody to where you let go of that mental cage that you have on. So I'm going to tell you a story. There was a lady that would go jogging on the beach every single day, but she would see a woman every single Sunday. She would be sitting on the beach and she'd have a few turtles and she would have a cage right next to her. And, you know, this woman thought to herself, she's like, you know what, let me just stop and let me ask her what she's doing, because I see her here every single Sunday. So she goes up to the woman and she says, excuse me, I see you here every single Sunday. What is it? What is it that you're doing? And she said, well, I'm scrubbing off the scum and the algae off the turtle shell. It's obvious, right? And so she looks at her and she kind of smiles and she says, that's amazing, but why are you doing that? And she says, because the algae and the scum on the turtle shell prevents them from swimming at their full capacity. And it starts to corrode their shell after a while of having algae and scum on it. So she said, okay, I understand that. That makes sense. But what do you really think you're going to be able to make a difference? Because there's a lot of other turtles swimming in lakes and oceans that are never going to get to meet you or anybody nice enough like you to clean up their shell. So with all due respect, do you really think it's going to make a difference if you clean a few turtles? And so the old woman smiled and she laughed a little bit and she looked down at the turtle that she was holding and she scrubbed off the last bit of scum and algae on it. And she said, if you ask this little guy if I made a difference for him, he's going to say I changed his whole world. So think about it. How many of us are like that turtle swimming in the ocean of life and we've accumulated algae and scum throughout our life? How many of us are not swimming at our full capacity because we have algae and scum on our brains, because of other people? It doesn't even have to be because of us, but we're holding on to it. So I want you to go ahead. If there's something that you're willing to share in the chat, go ahead and type it in the chat. If not, I want you to write it down. I want you to write down at least 2 things that are algae and scum on your brain that you want to be gone. So what are some things that you feel are holding you back from going at your full capacity? Because guess what? There's going to be a majority of people in the world that we're probably not going to be able to touch just because there's so many people. But if you help 1 turtle, 2 turtles, 3 turtles, 4 turtles, If you help clean up those turtles and then they go out and help some more people, do you agree that we could probably cover a lot of ground? So now take Mr. Thomas, for example. We're all the little turtles swimming in the ocean of life, and we found Mr. Thomas, and he's the person sitting at the edge of the beach cleaning up our shells. He's cleaning the algae, he's cleaning the scum, because he knows that without doing that, we're not going to be able to operate at our full capacity. And if you think about it right now, there's something in your life that you know you could be way further in, and you're just not there yet because there's algae and scum. You know that you're meant for more. You know that you were not just put here just to, be born, have babies, pay bills, and die. We know that's not what it's about. But when are we fully going to experience what it feels like to swim at your full capacity? How long are we going to keep swimming in the ocean of life with the algae and scum until we finally let somebody clean it and we're patient enough and we're able to swim fully? A couple people in the chat. All right, okay, I get it, because it's personal. I get it. Now, think about this. You can't free other people if you can't free yourself first. So that's kind of like we say, how are you going to lead other people if you can't lead yourself first? How are you going to guide other people on waking up early if you can't wake up early? How are you going to tell other people, look, you need to do personal development if you're not doing personal development? So how do we clean that algae and the scum? How do we do that? You have to constantly be reinventing yourself. You have to constantly be growing, constantly be doing personal development, constantly be plugging into events. Listen to the people that have what you want. Don't listen to the people that you don't want anything to do with what they have. How many times have we heard that? But how many of us really do it? We know that there's people in our life that we sometimes take advice from just because we respect them, that we really shouldn't, because they're not at where we want to go. We sometimes do it out of habit. We sometimes do it out of respect. But if you know where you're going, if you know that there's people that are already there, like think about Mr. Thomas. He's where people want to be. He's where people want to go. And not everyone still listens, and that's because of the algae and scum. And yeah, it's going to take time to clean it off, because anybody knows soap scum, that it takes time, but you can do it. So let me tell you another story. In a circus, I'm going to tell you a story about a tiger, because I had a tiger on my wall. Okay. So in a circus, there is a ringmaster, and they caught a tiger cub. Okay. They caught a tiger cub. And when he got to the circus, he was little. He wasn't going to do any harm, right? He was little. But the ringmaster still put a chain around his neck, and he would start training him. He would start training him to do the tricks and all of those things. And every single night after the shows, once he started performing, the chain would still be on him, but they would cover it with something so people couldn't see it. Every night after the shows, the ringmaster would yank on the chain and take him into the cage, and he would go without a fight. Now the tiger was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but the only thing that changed was the size of the chain around his neck. So again, next day, performing, jumping through hoops, doing all of that stuff. And then again, night after night, the ringmaster would just yank on the chain and take him in the cage. And then one day, the ringmaster said, you know what? I think he's trained now. I don't think he's going anywhere. He took the chain off of the tiger after a performance. And what do you think the tiger did? What do you think he did? He went back into the cage without a fight because he was trained to do so. Just like that, people are trained, and it can be by culture, by family dynamics, by anything. There's certain things that people have gone through in their life that have molded and shaped you into the person that you are today. Conditioned by past experiences. Yes, exactly. So think about those things. Just like algae and scum, people have a chain. That's just like the elephant and the rope. I don't know if you've heard me tell that story before. But same thing, when an elephant was tied up to a rope and they tied it to a chair, he thought he couldn't go anywhere. What's that chain? What's the algae and the scum that we need to get rid of so that you can swim to your full capacity? You are a tiger. The chain that was put on you, even once it's taken off, that self-sabotages when you keep doing it, even after the chain has been taken off. If you know how powerful you are, if you know you're a tiger, why aren't you embracing it? You know you're so powerful. There's so many things that you're capable of, and sometimes it's just the fear that holds us back, and we know that. We know that. But why don't we keep working at getting over it and getting through it? So I want everybody right now, what's one of your chains? What's one of your chains? Or something that you think is a chain for you? Take your chains off. Exactly, Mr. Driscoll. Take the chains off. And that's what today's for. We're going to take the chains off. Because think about it. We've heard Mr. Julian Lewis tell the story about Harriet Tubman. And she said, I would have freed a lot more people had they only known they were slaves. So if we know that we have mental chains and we can take them off, and then we can go at the full speed and capacity we're meant to go on, we can experience total bliss every single day. We choose not to. Think about it. Emotions are a choice. You get to choose what you want to feel. Studies have shown that by changing your physiology, you can change your mental state. If you ever feel down, try it, test it out. Stand up and start jumping up and down for no reason for anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds and tell me how you feel after. If we know that that's a possibility, why do we still let our emotions control us? Freedom isn't free. It does take work. It does have a cost. It does have a price, but are you willing to pay that price? Are you willing to go through the process of becoming mentally free? Are you willing to day in, day out, when you start thinking a negative thought, are you willing to cut that thread? Like, you can physically say cut and cut that emotion off. You don't have to keep it. It's not yours. Especially when you know it's not yours, you can let it go. Let it go. It doesn't belong to you. You can recognize it. If somebody comes to you, so this is what happens with my mom. Now that she has time to at least take a couple phone calls throughout the day, people call her, like her old friends, and everybody calls her. And they'll call her for advice. And they go on and on and on and on about all their problems and all their stresses. And anybody that knows me, I love my mom to death. And if you come to my mom talking about your problems and stressing her out, I have a problem with that, right? But so they tell her about their problems. And what happens is she taught me something so valuable. I asked her one day, I said, Mom, how do you do it? How do you let all these people come to you with their problems and you just let them like throw up on you and you're fine at the end of the day? And she said, because I know that that's their life and their emotions and not mine. And I learned that my mom, the level of emotional mastery that she has with everything that she's gone through in her life, those are steps toward mental freedom. That's what it feels like to live in total bliss, when you just let go of things and you know that you are not your emotions. You are not your emotions. You get to control it. Mr. Nelson mentioned emotional mastery, and that's so key and that's so important for us. Think about it. Anytime somebody says no to you, what happens? If you have no emotional mastery, what happens? You want to pick up your phone and throw it across the room. And don't act like you don't, because I know you do. Or at least at some point in time, you felt like it. You just wanted to pick it up and just chuck it outside the window too, break your window as well. But that's emotional mastery. Because instead of getting emotional about it, just like the 100 squares that we use, it takes all the emotions out of it. You have to understand that they're not saying no to you. They're saying no because they have something that is holding them back, probably. You can't let that affect you, because then what happens is you're letting other people's emotions run your life. And that's not okay. That's definitely not okay. So I'm going to give everyone an acronym for freedom. So last week I gave you a few keys, the P's of problems. So today I'm going to spell out freedom for everyone. So everyone write out freedom, F-R-E-E-D-O-M, in a straight line going down. And we're going to go through an acronym. So every time you feel yourself getting emotional or thinking about something that has to do with your mental freedom, I want you to look at this paper. You can stick it on your fridge, you can stick it on your bathroom window, whatever you want to do. So the F stands for forgive. Forgive yourself, first of all. Forgive yourself for accepting less than you deserve. Forgive yourself for accepting less than you deserved your whole life. There's been things that you've settled for in life. There's been relationships that you probably shouldn't have been in. There's been some people that you probably shouldn't have talked to. There's been some situations that you probably could have handled better. There's been people that you stopped talking to that you probably shouldn't have, or people that you still talk to that you probably should have cut off a long time ago. But you have to forgive yourself in order to move forward. You have to say, look, there's an exercise that you don't have to do this, but it just popped into my head because I remember it from somewhere. So go into your bathroom mirror after this call is over, and I want you to look at yourself. Look at yourself in the eyes and tell yourself, I forgive you and I love you. That right there, if that doesn't get you, and if you don't start crying, you're not staring at yourself long enough. Because when you tell yourself that you forgive yourself and that you love yourself, that's a part of like self-healing too. That right there, people break down when you have to look yourself in the eyes and tell yourself, I forgive you for putting me through what I went through and for accepting it as my reality or as what I deserved, even though I know that I deserve more because I'm a tiger. Now the R is for relentless. So you have to be relentless in the pursuit of the life that you want. You have to be relentless. You have to go after it like you know that's where you're going. If you knew that there was a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, what are you going to do? Stop at the color purple? No, you're going to keep going. You're going to keep going because you know it's there. You can see it. It might get foggy sometimes. You might not totally see it all the time, and you might have some doubts that you're going to get there or not. But guess what? You have to be relentless. That's where that part comes in. Now the E, there's going to be 3 E's. So either you could put these 2 together or put 3 E's there. So escape. You have to escape the mental cage that you put yourself in every single time. Every time you get a negative thought, you need to cut it. I want everyone to practice. Cut it. Negative thought, cut it. Self-doubt, cut it. You need to cut it. They even wrote a song on it. Okay? There's a song on it. You need to cut it. Just think about that song every single time. But escape that mental cage that you're in. You don't belong there. You're a tiger. You belong in the wild. You don't belong in a cage. You don't. And you know that. You know that. There's people right now. I see people's faces. I'm not going to call you out, but you look like, she's right. She's right. She's right. Now, the second E, eliminate. You have to eliminate the algae and the scum. You have to eliminate it. Mr. Thomas is going to help. Leaders are going to help. But if you don't sit there, you don't sit still, and you keep moving around and jumping back into the water and then coming back out, jumping back into the water. How are we supposed to clean algae? You got to stay still for that. Algae and scum takes time to clean. So eliminate the algae and scum from our brains. Now, the third E, you got to execute. You got to execute a plan. We know that execution is key. You can make an action plan. You can have all the motivation in the world. You can have all the inspiration in the world. But if you don't execute anything, if you're not showing the plan, if you're not going out and trying to talk to people, or if you're not thinking of new ideas and new things, then you're not executing. That's action. That's taking action. Nothing's going to happen without action. We know that there's people that have notebooks and notebooks of notes, but do we go back and read over our notes? Do we go back and say, oh, on December 14th of 2018, Mr. Thomas said this, just like Mr. Dean Trolley did. He has stacks of notebooks and he'll go back years and look at them. Are we doing that? Are we executing those things into action that we learn? The D, there's two of them. You ready? You ready? There's two of them. You got to be determined and you got to make a decision. You have to be determined and you have to make a decision. You have to have that determination that you're going to do it. No matter what somebody says. Did you see the training last night that Mr. and Mrs. King did? I was jumping out of my seat. I didn't even know all of those stats. Do you know how much posture that would give us? How much posture, if you know this is the biggest industry right now, the biggest industry. There are so many people looking for something to do. People used to laugh at wanting to work from home. And now guess what? People are Googling it. People are looking for it. And you have it. You have it. But have you decided that you're going to do it? And have you decided and been determined that you're going to do it? You have to be determined. There's so many people from the book Think and Grow Rich. If they would have never gone forward, who knows if we would have had electricity? Who knows if we would have the radio? Who knows if we would have the car? We'd still be in a horse and buggy. Imagine that. We wouldn't have a Jaguar. We'd be in a horse and buggy war, okay? You have to be determined. You have to know that you know that you know that you're going there. You've seen it. You've seen magazines. You've seen all these things. You have proof. Just be determined and decide that this is for you and you're going to do it. How long are you going to watch the game? You're not meant to watch the game. You're meant to play the game and dominate. You didn't just come here to watch. You didn't just come here to sit on the sidelines. Is that what you're here for? No, that's not what you're here for. That's not what you were made for. We're not just made to work, pay bills, and die. We're here to experience life. But you have to eliminate the algae and scum to go at your full capacity. You have to break that chain in order to be able to move forward. You have to forgive yourself. You have to be relentless. You have to escape. You have to eliminate. You have to execute. You have to be determined. You have to make a decision, because then that all leads to the O, which is operate at a high frequency. Operate at a high level. You have to operate like what you want. Operate at the level that you want in life. Because you can do things at a low level all your life. All your life. There's people that go through life where they're operating so low beneath what they're capable of. You ever want somebody so bad for somebody else because you know that they need it? You know that they would love it. They'd be so good at it. But you want it more than they do. And they're just not operating at a high enough level to get that thing. We've heard before from Mr. Lewis that on average, a person gets about 80 summers in their life. Now calculate where you are and think about it. Think back and then forgive yourself for accepting lower than what you deserve. But then be determined and tell yourself that the rest of the summers are going to be the best summers ever. Imagine being able to travel every year when we can again, travel to wherever you want to go in the world and not have to worry about it. You really get to experience what life is about, because you know you deserve better. And I've talked about it before. Do you want to get to the end of your life and say, remember when, or what if? What do you want? Write it down. Do you want remember whens, or do you want what ifs? Because let me tell you, the people that get to the end and they say it, they want to say remember when. But a majority of people say what if? What if I would have taken that chance? What if I would have gone after that person? What if I would have talked to that person? What if I would have joined that business? What if I would have started that business? What if I would have done this? What if, what if, what if? Do you want to be a what if and look back at your life as a regret? Or do you want to say, remember when? Remember when I did take that chance? Remember when I did talk to that person? Remember when I did hit that promotion? Remember when we got to travel because I sacrificed in the beginning? Because it doesn't come without sacrifice. We know that. So now the M in freedom is myself. Write down myself or me, whichever one you want. Now say, I am me. Tell yourself, I am me. I am me. And don't you ever forget that. Because a lot of times what happens is when we start seeing other people, yes, you want to mimic the things that are making them successful, but don't take yourself out of the equation. Because remember that you were given something that nobody else was given. You have something that nobody else has. You've gone through things that nobody else has gone through. And that's what makes you a masterpiece, not anybody else compared to you. You are yourself. What makes you you? Who are you? When people talk to you, do they know who you are? Do they feel your personality? Do they feel your heart? Do they feel your passion? Do they feel your dedication? Do they see you grinding? Who are you? And remind yourself to just always be yourself. Yep, the M is for masterpiece as well. Teacup story, teacup reference, masterpiece. So just think about why we're here. Everybody comes to this opportunity just for a chance or a hope at total freedom. At total freedom. And you know what the beautiful thing is? That everybody has a chance. Everybody has an equal chance. It's a level playing field. It's a level playing field. Miss Kenny still looks at her teacup every day. It's a level playing field. But are you playing the game or are you watching from the sidelines? Are you being yourself or are you trying to copy other people? Have you forgiven yourself to move forward or are you still holding on to something that you need to let go? Do you still have the chains on or are they off already, but you're just so used to it that you keep going back into the cage? There's people that have fought for freedom, died for freedom, they crave freedom, but freedom isn't free and not everybody goes after it. Not everybody has the privilege to go after it. You have a chance at freedom. Are you taking it? Are you gonna take it? It's already November. Think about it. Since March till now, where has the year gone? Nobody knows. But we know that we could have been doing a lot more than we did. But take this time, look back at this time as that was your time to grow, and now it's time to go. It's time to make it happen. Because it's going to be December before you know it. We're going to be in 2021 before you know it. And we're going to look back and say, 2020 was the best year of my life because I totally transformed. Or you're going to say, I didn't take advantage of that time. It didn't transform at all. And now I don't know what to do. Do you know what to do? Are you determined? Do you know when your next promotion is going to be? Are you working towards it? Are you actually talking to people? Talk to people. Look, you're a warrior. You're a tiger. You have nothing to fear. If somebody says no, okay, great. Tony Kupas, great. If somebody says anything negative, great. They're saving you time. Just look at it that way. But you have to be determined and you have to know that you're going to get there. You have to know that you deserve better because you do. You have to know that you haven't been swimming at your full capacity, but you deserve to, and it's time to. Because 2021 is the year of abundance, but if you're not ready for it, it's going to pass you by just like this year did. But you're not meant for that. That's not what you're here for. So it starts with mental freedom. We're going to get that down. And once that's done, you can have anything else you want in life, but it starts here, right here, starts up here, okay? So Mr. Thomas, thank you so much. I'm going to pass the call back over to you.
Hey, Derek, will you repeat them one more time for people that missed them? Some people got on a few minutes late, but repeat them one more time to kind of sum it all up, please. Thank you.
All right, so the F is for forgiveness. So forgive yourself. And remember the exercise. You're going to go into your bathroom mirror after this call is over. If you want to, you're going to look yourself in the eyes. You're going to tell yourself, I forgive you and I love you. Because when was the last time you told yourself that you loved yourself? The R is for relentless. You have to be relentless in the pursuit of the life that you want and desire and deserve. Be relentless. The E's, you have to escape the mental cage. Escape. You have to eliminate the algae and scum. You have to execute a plan, meaning take action. We got to execute. You have to be determined. D, determined, and make a decision. Determined and make a decision. The O, you have to operate at a higher level. Make that extra call, make that extra text, befriend that extra person. M, myself, me. I am me. And I am amazing. Don't ever forget that. I am a masterpiece. You keep telling yourself that and don't forget it, because you are. So with that, Mr. Thomas, again, back to you.
Wow. Can we all show her some love? Come on, let's show some love right now. That was amazing, 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 amazing. I love it. I love it. Freedom, 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 freedom. You know, and I just want to say thank you all for being on the call today. Miss Natasha, Ismail, you did a great job as always. And man, I tell you what, this is when I think some people can't get better. They just throw more icing on the cake and getting better with it, make it even sweeter. Hey, I want to thank everybody out there at the sound of my voice. It's a look, we're in a brand new, think about it, it's a new week. What are you going to do this week to move your business forward for your freedom? You know, and I want to say this before I get off the call. If you did not see last night's training by the Kings, you are missing the whole boat. I advise every one of you, do not get on here tomorrow until you go today and get on here and watch last night's training about our industry. That was so powerful. ACN should incorporate that. That's how powerful last night were. I don't know why you guys not on Saturday, Sunday nights. It's only an hour, less than an hour of good stuff for you on Sunday nights. Come on. You missed something that was so powerful. These Sunday nights trainings are just getting better and better, and the quality of the content is just getting so amazing, so amazing, so amazing. And you're missing Sunday nights. Look, we only do these calls once an hour. I mean, once a day for an hour. What are you doing the rest of your time? You all could be on Sunday night. Where you going? Where you going? Where you going? Where you going? Tell me about where you going at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Coast time. What are you doing? Watching what program? 60 Minutes come on after it's over. So don't worry about it. My God, you missed it. Go back and look at last night's training. I'm telling you, get on right after we get done here, get on there and watch it. It is powerful. And take notes. It's going to blow you away about stuff you don't even know about our industry. Who talked about that? Mr. Shilko Cooper talked about our industry, which you have no idea about. That way, when you get somebody blow it, you just fall right over because you're not strong enough to understand what it is we do in our industry and how powerful network marketing is. So you got to understand, go back and listen, watch it, go to the channel and watch it. So with that said, Miss Natasha, Ismail, thank you so much for a great, great presentation today about freedom. And let's not just write it down and not look at it, just regurgitate it, go back and study it. My son and I were talking yesterday about studying certain things. He asked about it was a book, and I told him what page to go to. Like, wow, you know what's there? Yeah, because I study it. I just don't read it, I study. What are you studying? Are you studying our industry? Are you studying your business? Go back and study. So once more, let's give Ms. Natasha Ismail a little more love. One more time. Tomorrow morning, we got the great, the incomparable, the one and only Mr. Julian Lewis on Tuesday this week, every Tuesday in the month of November. And Mr. Dwight Williams is also on the call. He'll be with us every Wednesday. Oh my God, you guys are, all I can say is, you guys are getting the best of the best of the best of the best. And bring people on the calls. Tonight at 6 o'clock, we have Power Hour. And we got a little, I can't tell you what's going to happen tonight, but 6 o'clock, Power Hour, 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Coast time to 7, 1 hour. 1 hour. What did you know who said to his constituents, can you stay awake at least 1 hour while we're up there praying? You know what I'm talking about? Y'all can't give me a 1 hour tonight just to, oh my goodness. Some of you learned so much about yourselves in that 1 hour. And then you said, Mr. Thomas, I really wasn't putting in what I thought I was putting into the business. Of course not. Because 1 hour is nothing to put into business. And y'all just don't do it on Monday. Why don't you do it every day of the week? So 6 o'clock p.m., come on back. Natasha Ismail, Mr. Bree Clemens, spearheading our Power Hour for bring your list, and we're going to make some calls. Hey, we've been giving away. I can't tell you what's going to happen tonight, but it's all I can tell you. Be back tonight at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Coast time. All right, everybody, have a blessed day and be safe and go out and get some customers and IBOs and build your business. God bless. See you tonight at 6.